Hello everyone and welcome to patch 2.5a. This is going to be the last major balance patch before the Horizon Cup, which is happening very soon, I believe in a few weeks time. And as you can see already, as we jump straight into it, we have Caitlyn, which is coming in this patch. Caitlyn's going to be arriving November 9th, which is going to be very soon. And we have also Jayce arriving at November 9th as well. Now, just a quick rundown of who these champions are. So Caitlyn, AD carrying main, really good, has insanely long range, has some traps as well, and has the executability on her ultimate, which is really powerful. And just an overall very easy champion to play, an easy champion to kind of get used to, but she can be very strong. We'll just have to see how she works with a few of the items. And then Jayce has like two different forms. He has a ranged form and a melee form. He can change them at any point, which is his ultimate, and then each one of them have their own separate abilities as well. Overall, Jayce is going to be a really strong top laner. It depends on obviously his stats and everything, but I believe like he's going to be insanely strong, especially against the matchup of most of the top laners that are currently in the meta. Skins, we got some new skins. Bewitching Janna, very nice skin. Underworld, Twisted Fate, and Wukong, again, both really nice skins. Jayce Brighthammer. Now, I'm not really too sure what this skin is. It might be one of the new skins that are coming out to Wild Rift and to maybe League of Legends in general, but I can't remember off the top of my head what this skin is. Maybe that's why they didn't show it in the patch preview, because they showed Headhunter Caitlyn, but they didn't show Jayce Brighthammer. So we have to see how things go with that. This is very interesting as well. Some really weird things. You got the whole bauble thing with Halloween, which kind of makes sense. Underworld, Twisted Fate, Underworld, Wukong, and Bewitching Janna icons, which are kind of cool. You have the Caitlyn and Jayce, which is obviously going to turn into event. Then you have these interesting question marks as well, and I don't know if they're supposed to be there or they're supposed to be something different instead. I'm not really too sure. We'll have to wait and see what finds out with that. Maybe it's something to do with Arcane, because obviously Arcane is coming out very soon as well. So maybe an event around that as well, which makes me think that maybe this is a Jayce Arcane skin as well that we saw from PC League of Legends as well. So it will be very interesting indeed. We've got the Hextech Heist as well, which is about Jayce's Pucker Watches being stolen. Caitlyn has to track it down. So you'll be doing that on November 9th as well. The same release with Caitlyn and Jayce. Now the important part, the patch changes and the balance changes. You mentioned around the cup, this is one of the 12 major patch for the last few weeks. Cool. This is fair. They do the same with worlds as well. They do. Actually, no, they don't do the same with worlds. I tell a lie. The reason why they're doing this for Wild Rift is because every single time a patch happens, it always goes to live on in tournaments, which is a really bad downside at the moment, in my opinion, to Wild Rift. So at the moment in PC League of Legends, the live server is different to the tournament realm. They have like their own separate client, which allows them to go into the tournament realm, so they could go back to whatever patch they kind of want to. So they always play on the same patch. Obviously, Wild Rift is a bit different. They haven't got the tools yet to make their own client or anything like that. So this is going to be the last big major balance change of the entire month, most likely, as it says, probably up until maybe 2.6. Or after the Horizon Cup, which is going to be in a few weeks' time. But first things first, Akshan is getting a very slight nerf. His ultimate, his bonus damage, his minimum bonus damage and maximum bonus damage are both going down ever so slightly. Not too much though. Akshan has been performing quite well. Has just a lot of poke in lane, a lot of sustain. You could either go for the on-hit or the crit build. Both work really well. But yeah, overall, just toning down the ultimate damage a little bit, ever so slightly, but nothing too major. He should still be fine. Darius is getting another nerf. His heal on his first ability is going from 15 to 45 to 12 to 36. So just make sure that healing goes down a little bit. Again, no real surprises, as competitive Darius has been really strong as well. This is maybe to do with competitive. Maybe you would have seen it if this nerf didn't happen, but you haven't seen him competitive too much, but maybe this is more of like a solo queue nerf. Again, a more competitive nerf as well. Galio, his ultimate durations go from 120, 180 to 130, 115, 100. So 20 seconds in the late game, which is quite a long time, if I'm totally honest with you. It goes 10, 15, and then 20 seconds. So yeah, going to be hit pretty hard. Can't use this ultimate as much, but obviously Galio in competitive is so strong as a support at the moment. Being able to combo it with other abilities like Jarvan's ultimate, Camille's ultimate as well. So no real surprise here that Galio is getting a nerf. And again, Graves as well, another nerf to him as well. Again, Graves just been really, really strong at the moment over the last few patches. So then nerfing his base health, his armor per level, and his base mana regen as well. So we'll have to see how this shapes things up. But when base stats happen, it's a little bit scary. I'm not going to lie when base stats get changed, because it can hit a champion quite a lot. Like 40 health is quite a lot. Armor per level as well is going down by like 0.4, which is not going to be too much. When it comes into the late game, you'll probably lose like maybe... You're looking at maybe 4 or 5 mana, maybe in the late game. Not mana, sorry, armor. No, maybe like between 5 and 6 armor in the late game. And the base mana regen has gone down as well, so you won't be spamming abilities too much. Now, this is an interesting one. This is Kai'Sa's first nerf in a long time. Actually, no, I don't even know if ever Kai'Sa has maybe got a nerf in EU. Ever since the release of EU, has Kai'Sa ever got nerfed? I don't actually think so. But this is quite interesting. Finally, they actually realized that Kai'Sa is just still insanely strong at the moment, you know, for all these patches, for all these changes of items, other champions, etc., etc. Kai'Sa has always been the most consistent one up there, so they finally changed it. But I don't think the nerf is going to be too much. Base damage per missile is going down by 10 at all ranks, so per missile you get about you get 6 with the base one, and then you get 12 missiles in the evolved version. So you might be missing out on maybe like between like maybe 60 to 120 damage overall, because this is base damage per missile. So it's going to be minus 10 per missile, so 12 missiles like 120. I believe it's 12 missiles that evolve. If I get that wrong, I do apologize. But yeah, kind of a big nerf on especially her wave clear as well. Her wave clear is obviously really, really strong on Akshan Rain, obviously the damage as well. And it's interesting, well, max single target damage as well. So this is when Kai'Sa isolates a target and all the missiles go on one target. You normally have like a max single target damage you'll get to. Normally it's like 112, 157. These are really weird numbers, by the way. 202, 247, really, really weird. But they're nerfing it ever so slightly by about 20 every rank. Pretty big overall. I'll have to test it out to see how Kai'Sa feels after this, but it's going to affect loads of things, you know, wave clear, early game damage as well, because you want to get your first ability evolved as soon as possible. You know, late game as well, when you're trying to isolate a target, when you're trying to jump on the backline, you're not going to be doing as much damage with your Akshan Rain. So it will be interesting, but yeah, because this is damage per missile, it could turn into quite a big change, but again, we'll have to see how things go. Lucian is getting a buff, which is quite interesting. His calling damage is going up ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. Yeah, they did it because of the Dragon Lane. But Lucian, I do have a new build with Lucian, and it is an insane build. You might have seen it earlier on today, or like yesterday, whatever time zone you're in, with the clip that I had of Lucian. There's an insane new build with Lucian, which I'll be showing you definitely tomorrow in a video, and we will wait and see what you guys think about the new build. But I feel like Essence Reaver as an item is kind of dead now. Not a lot of people are building it, and you're going into a new evolution of Lucian and a new build, which is combining 2 items that I've done before on Xayah. So you might have to go back and maybe you can find a little trick there. Might be able to find like a little sneak peek of what the build actually is. But yeah, overall, Lucian with the new build that I have is really, really strong. And obviously the calling damage is going to help out a lot as well. So we'll have to see how that works. Nami, again, this is more of a competitive thing, I feel like. But also solo queue as well, because Nami is so strong in solo queue. Nothing, the tidal wave, which is really, really nice. You know, the tidal wave is insanely strong as a team fight ultimate. So yeah, really, really nice stuff there. Tryndamere getting nerfed. Because of how strong he is at the moment with all the changes. They're nerfing his attack speed from attacking enemies, which is from his passive. So it's gone from 50, 55, 65, 75 to 55, 45, 50, 55, 60. So not too much of a nerf in the early game, but as a later game goes, a nerf is going to be substantial. But 60% still, you know, when you're max level, it's still insane. Like that's still a lot of attack speed, you know, even 45%. In the early game, you know, straight away when you get your passive, it's still really, really good. So, you know, don't be surprised if you still see Tryndamere in your games. Now, this is kind of the most interesting part about the patch, but kind of the one that kind of worries me a little bit. Black Cleaver getting buffed again. Now, before they buffed Black Cleaver, I can't remember what they did. I think they might have done cooldown reduction or something, or it was the passive as well. it was a passive that they changed and buffed it. Now they're buffing the attack damage by 5. Now, I know one person who's going to be really happy with this, which is Rick's Doom. Doom loves Black Cleaver as an item in general. He just builds on every single jungler that he plays, so he really like this. So, yeah, shout out to Doom. Hopefully he can start carrying his games again and everything and get above the 50% win rate that he despises himself over. But, yeah, overall, I mean, Black Cleaver, going to be a really, really strong item now. You know, it's going to be used on a lot of champions. It's going to be really, really scary, you know, especially for champions like Renekton, champions like that benefit a lot from Black Cleaver. It's going to be really scary to see where they are, especially because Renekton didn't get changed as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Lost Whisper, which is a tier 2 item, the armor penetration's gone down by 5%. Now it's kind of in you know, in comparison to, you know, the other 2 changes as well, which I get into a second. It's a very, very interesting one, to be fair. I guess they feel like the anti-armor items at the moment are just really, really easy to get hold of, and they're really, really powerful. And there's not really, you know, any tank champions that can kind of withhold the power of armor penetration, so they actually nerfing it down, which is quite interesting, to be fair. I'm not too sure if I personally agree, but we'll have to see how things go. And this moves on to the nerfs to Mortal Mind and Grudge. Now, this could get a little bit scary, to be honest. You know, this could get really, really scary. It could, obviously, it nerfs AD carries by quite a bit, especially if you go like Mortal Reminder early, which most likely won't be a thing anymore, especially Grudge as well. But it is interesting, especially, you know, the Mortal Reminder nerf, which is quite a big one, to be fair. So basically what they're doing now is they're making armor penetration not be 30% at all levels. It's now going to be 16 to 30% based on champion level, which is quite an interesting one. I don't really know what I think about it, to be honest. I'm guessing it's just going to be 1% per level, because 15... yeah, it's going to be just 1% per level. So when you get to level 2, it'll go to 17, and so on until it goes up to 30%. So champions that used to build Mortal Reminder early on, which wasn't really a lot of champions that I think about it at the moment. Not a lot of champions did want to build Mortal Reminder early on. It's kind of like maybe a 3rd, sometimes even 4th item. So when it is a 4th item, it'll be completely fine. People will still build the Executioner's Calling, the one before that, to get that healing regeneration. But then there's the stuff after this as well. You know, the attack damage going down by 5 and the cost going up by 150, which is quite a lot, to be honest. They're making it the same goal now as Grudge. So I don't really know what to think about this now, to be fair. I mean, when you have so little options of armor penetration, and bearing in mind that Grudge is only used on a certain amount of champions anyway because of the slows, you know, like Lucian, like other champions as well, like some assassins as well. You know, champions like, I don't know, let's take, for example, I guess Xayah, for example. You know, Xayah, when she needs some armor penetration, she can't go Serylda's Grudge. Serylda's Grudge doesn't really work on her. She doesn't need slows or anything. She doesn't really benefit from the slows. So you kind of have to go Mortal Reminder if you want to get the armor penetration. So now that's getting nerfed. It's kind of limited down. You know, I think the same with every single AD carry. Don't get me wrong. You know, every single AD carry is going to go down by a bit because of these changes. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this affects things. And we'll have to obviously see how things work out. And obviously the same with Grudge as well. You know, the Grudge combined cost has gone up by 100. And obviously the champion level, the armor penetration has gone down from 30 to 16 to 30. So people won't be rushing Grudge anymore. People that used to play Varus used to go Grudge 2nd item. I normally went Grudge 3rd item. I went Yomu's Ghostblade 2nd item, but some people did go Grudge 2nd item because it was really, really strong with all the slows. So that's probably not going to be a thing anymore, because, you know, if you get a 2nd item, you're probably only level like maybe, I don't know, 8 or something like that. So you're only going to get like, what, 24% armor penetration, which is not as much as 30. So they'll probably delay it a little bit to make sure you get the extra armor penetration. So we'll see how things go. And obviously it costs a little bit more as well, which is quite a bummer. And yeah, and then the magic resist going up on Spirit Visage and Force of Nature. So I guess they feel like tanks at the moment don't really have a lot of magic resist options, or maybe they're just not strong enough, so they're buffing them ever so slightly. So yeah, I mean, very, very interesting item changes overall. This one really, really scares me for Black Cleaver, because I feel like Black Cleaver already is quite strong. So buffing it by another 5 AD is quite scary. And then, again, like I said, Lost Whisper and, you know, armor pen items, because you don't have a lot of options in the first place, you know, nerfing them down is kind of scary, because then it might turn into a situation where, I mean, I doubt it'd be a situation where it turns into like a tank meta and people have to go like Mortal Reminder and things like that, but items are so expensive, and early game it's just going to be really, really hard to do anything because you have like, you know, it's only 16 to 30%. You're not going to get that 30% straight away. So yeah, I mean, made builds flexible before with Mortal Reminder. You could have gone it like second or third item if you really, really wanted to. I mean, most of the time you go like, you know, Solari Charge Blade and things like that as your second item, but it made things interesting. But now it feels like it has to be like a sort of late game item, you know, third, fourth, maybe even fifth item to be able to get, you know, level 15 as soon as possible, so you get that 30% based on penetration per level. But yeah, and then you have the normal casual free-to-play champions there. But yeah, I'm really, really excited about Caitlyn and Jayce coming to the Rift. I will be playing Caitlyn a lot, as you guys know. I'll be doing guides and everything on the champions as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's everything for this patch. I mean, as it mentioned, you know, last major patch, because it's going to be the Horizon Cups. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in future patches. Maybe like slight tweaks here and there, maybe, but nothing really too major. So we'll see how things go with that. Obviously, they said more events are coming as well. Obviously, with Arcane coming up as well, Jayce and Caitlyn release, there's going to be a lot more events. So it's a very, very exciting times indeed to be a Wild Rift fan. But yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this rundown, make sure you leave a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know down in the comments what you feel like the best and the worst change is from this patch. So yeah, I'll see you all very soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of the day. And I'll see you all very soon. Peace.